You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favorite podcasts.
Are you ready? I'm saying, are you ready?
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favorite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Alrighty. Oh my God, I'm small. Let me just take a Viagra. There we go. I'm big again. That's amazing. It's amazing what pills can do these days. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello. I've absolutely no idea what's going on tonight. Your usual host with the most, Brad, he's here, kind of, but he told me to make a start. So I'm coming to make a start. He's gone off to get a bit of pad and paper, maybe even to try and remember what he's predicted this week. It's going to be one of those shows. Not only is it sloppy seconds, but I think if we get up to terrible thirds or fantastic fourths, it might be good. But welcome along. You are watching LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. That is where we have appeared over the years. Everywhere, you can't avoid us. And if you want to follow us on social media or podcast, yeah, look, we're everywhere again. LTID TV or Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us. Joining the fun, joining the predictions, have a bit of a laugh, as we all will when we look at the table at the moment, Brad. And just waiting for Brad to come on the camera and we can bring him in. If you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you very, very much indeed for lending me your ears. I will give them back to you in a minute. Methinks Brad is possibly waiting until I've done the table. We will see. We will see. But please do that. Please like, share, and do all the other bits as well. It really, really does help the channel. Especially if you like the video, that does help the channel. Niall, how the hell are you, sir? It has been a while. How is Motherwell? Is she well? How are you doing? Nice to see you again, mate. Welcome back. I was waiting to see if Brad was going to send me a message or not. But let's have a look at the table then, and we'll see how the table is doing. Let me bring myself in. Let me bring that in. There we go. That's the table. Yes. So Doug, and just to explain again, because we seem to change this every week, Doug is on top, which is probably why he's Daddy Doug now. And basically, the first 2 or 3 figures is how many points you've got. The second 2 figures, or the last 2 figures, whichever way you want to look at it, is how many correct scores you've got. So that if the points are the same, then the number of correct scores you got, like goal difference, will determine whether you are above or below the person with the same number of points. I've dropped down. I'm doing a bit of a West Ham. I'm on my way down. I'm down to 6th. John has taken over from me up there in 5th, but Doug's still in the goal position. Jeff, 2nd, had a fantastic week, did Jeff? 13 odd points. Well done, Jeff. Send me a few tips, please. Shane is still there in 3rd. Then you got Steve in 4th, John in 5th. I'm sort of down in 6th now. Craig in 7th, still 2 points ahead of Craig. I tell you what, it's getting close between me and Craig. I'm just about hanging on. A bit like Everton and their Premier League status. That said, that they're not doing too bad at the moment. Shane is in 8th, Nate is in 9th, Anthony in 10th, Spencer in 11th, and well, it's Brad who's bottom of the pile. Let's bring him in and see if he's there.
Hello. Yes, I'm hiding in shame at the moment. Well, actually, I'm getting myself caught up, and I'm writing up all the fixtures ready for you to give me your predictions and kick my ass again in the league. Because you know me, Chris, I don't like to say it over and over again, but I will anyway. It's this Championship. I can't do it. It's the Premier League for me, mate. The Premier League is the way to go. So I'll come back for the Premier League and win that one. Yeah, it's Championship. It's not for everybody.
Neither. You won't get promoted.
Well, no, my luck now. Yeah. So I probably just jinxed it.
You are wanting this to happen then, are you?
The Premier League? That's so last season. It's all about the Championship here on LTID TV. Now that's what I call football.
You hit the right spot.
Indeed. Oh, let me stick you up there. That's better.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get back to the good old leagues. This is like the Carabao Cup to me. I'm not really bothered if I win this. I've admitted defeat.
Knocked out first round, I think.
Yeah. Away at Wickham. That's what happened to me, mate.
Saying nothing, mate. Saying nothing. I'm glad, as I say, I've gone down one. Come, I'm sending you enough bungs through the post. Why aren't I going up the table?
Well, because other people like to point out any mistakes I've been making, mate. So I can't get away with it. And I got keen eyes everywhere. Big Brother is watching, or as I can see in the chat, John is watching. So he'll probably no doubt have to tell me I've done some miscalculations this week with me maths. But hopefully I finally got it right for a week.
Did you notice that when you sent the prediction results through this week, I actually said to you, can you give me a running total? Because that way, if it's wrong, it's you.
Yeah, I did notice that. And then I had to go back up and I had to scroll back up to the last week's table that you sent through just to get the points up. Because as ever, I am obviously so organised. I don't throw this together last minute. Honestly, I had to scroll up to see what points everybody had because I was like, I don't know what points everybody's got. Give me a second. I was on our chat scrolling up. I was like, yes, there's the table. I can do it. And it only took me 2 ticks. So it's not too bad.
The only reason was, like I say, it's your fault if you're wrong. But also, I was actually getting ready for the early show. So I had to ask you to do that.
That's no worries, mate. I was going to get it to you done this morning. In fact, I hadn't long woken up and I was just working my way through doing the maths when you asked me for it. I was like, oh. He's a man that knows me well. If he knows I'm doing something.
John says there, he thinks it's all good. Tight between 3rd and 8th. It is. In fact, I think the top 3 were pretty much going to be there at the end of the season. If I'm honest with you, I think we are playing for the Europa League and the Conference League places. Should we just leave that up a little bit longer, folks? Yeah, I think we should maybe just leave it. Just leave it there. Leave it there.
I tell you what, folks, he never did this when it was my time to shine for 2 years at the top, did he? He went straight up. There it is. Goodbye. See you later. No more said about the matter. But here we are.
The joy of owning the channel.
If yeah, I know. But if 2 more people want to just not give me the predictions 3, we can drop out. I might make the top 10 that way.
So, did Mike actually put results in, or are you saying he didn't, so that it goes like
No, he definitely did. He definitely did. In fact, oh dear. Only for me. So, do you think if I was doctoring points, mate, I'd still be bottom of this league?
It's a fair point. But anyway, still not being able to join us at the moment, Steve. I'm presuming he's not been able to reply to you. I've not had a reply myself, but you don't like to pressure him, you know what I mean? There's everything that's gone on. So, but just to remind people that he is still sponsoring the show, he is still supporting the channel, and this is what you should be doing to support him.
The Prediction Show from Leicester Till I Die TV. is brought to you by ex-Fox Steve Linex and foxy7clothing.co.uk.
Back of the net.
Now, we usually start obviously with the first game because it's a pretty good place to start. But the first game, which is tomorrow night, which is why we're doing this now, is of course Leicester Leeds. And we always come to Leicester at the end. So we're actually going to jump tomorrow night, and we'll come back to that, as I say, at the end of the show. But we're going to start with the first game. Well, I don't know what order you've got them in there, but those are the games up there. But you talk me through the order that you want to go in, Brad.
Well, no, we'll go off the order you've got there, so it makes it easier for you to follow. I go off BBC, which is what I assume Jeff goes off, because he's usually being in the Philippines. Like 2 minutes after the week's finished, he's already posted in his predictions for next week. So I kind of copied Jeff's homework, if you will, but it's usually off BBC. They're in a different, I think they're in a slightly different order to yours. I'm working on a phone, I can't see. Has it also on there? Have you also got the Ipswich Rotherham game that's played midweek?
I haven't. No.
Right, because everybody else has given me their prediction for that, because that's obviously that postponed fixture. So we'll link. I see. We're not all ready. We're not all sharpers.
No, we'll come back to the end and I'll give you that one. But the first one I've got here is Birmingham hosting Ipswich.
Well, that's what I've got first. So we're off to a flyer, mate.
We are now. Okay. Poor old Birmingham, eh? With Wayne Rooney. I loved. It was a podcast the other day, and I think it was Mika Richards was saying like, "Oh, this is going to be fun when Leicester play Birmingham. It's going to be up on Sky, blah blah blah." And Alan Shearer goes, "I better play it quick, otherwise Wayne Rooney won't still be the manager." I think that classic. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's looking that way, isn't it? Horrible start. Fans don't like him already. They can't buy a win, and I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm not taking off any of me. I'm not putting on my Leicester Rose tinted ones to this one. It's only going to get worse for Birmingham fans. For those that are listening and watching along, I'm going to give score predictions to as close as what I can remember as I did in the chat. These are not my, apart from the Leicester one, which I remember, these are not incoherent to the ones I've left in the group chat. So don't go thinking I'm suddenly trying to give myself two chances to cock it up. I'm not. I just forgot to write mine down in the infinite wisdom. So if you hear me saying something that I didn't put in the chat, don't come at me with your pitchforks. I'm going to try and go the same way as I have in chat, hopefully.
Well, yeah, for me, I'll go first in this one. Birmingham. I mean, you can understand the fans being mad. 3 games in charge, 3 games lost for Wayne Rooney. He's lost to Middlesbrough, he's lost to Hull, and he's lost to Southampton. Okay, fair enough that they were not exactly, easy games, but, previous to that, they'd beaten West Brom, who were sort of in the playoff zone now. So I completely understand why their fans have been pissed off. And this new quarterback guy that has brought into the club, he seems to think a name means more than actual experience. And, look at us and Sven. Getting big names doesn't always guarantee you results. And I am going to go here for this one. Birmingham City 0, Ipswich Town 2.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's not done anything in much way of success. I mean, I know he got a lot of plaudits for what he did at Derby, but what did he really do at Derby? With the greatest respect, let's look at the situation at Derby. They were deducted, 15 points? They were a mile, and I cannot think of a team that's been deducted that many points and managed to stay up. There might be one or in a lifetime of football, there might be 1 or 2 teams that have a fairy tale story that they got deducted as many points as Derby did and stayed up. So he took a team that really had nothing to lose and everything to gain And yeah, he got them on a good run, but again, they were fearless. It was, you know, he didn't really do much. He didn't do much at DC United. And I think people are already really sick of ex-footballers getting a decent looking at a job. And I know you might say, oh, it's Birmingham, but it's still a level above. There's a lot of peeved off managers with lots of experience that have been overlooked and overshadowed just because his name is Wayne Rooney. You know, if his name was Tom Davidson and he was managing DC, he wouldn't have got the job in the first place. He wouldn't have come...
Or Jesse Marsh.
Well, yeah, but you know, Leeds are the morons that did that. Thankfully, they learnt their own lesson, so I feel a bit better about Leeds.
I mean, yes, he did okay at Derby, and he would have kept them up had they not been deducted those points. But is that a good criteria to take over at Birmingham, or looking to get promotion?
No, it's not. Birmingham are a team that have, and I say this about a few teams, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It just happens in these big divisions. That you become a bit of a stale club. Birmingham haven't really flirted with the idea of getting out of the Championship, and they've also never looked like a team that's going to go down from the Championship either. They're kind of like that stale ale, if you will, of a club, and they were looking for someone to progress them, not someone to keep their head above water. This was the chance. With this NFL Tom Brady investment, you know, they were probably looking at Wrexham thinking, well, they've had the multi-millionaire takeover. Okay, it might take a couple of years, but maybe the investment now is going to be good and we're going to start having a good manager and progressing through the leagues. I still don't understand how you sack a manager after you win a game either. It's just ridiculous. But I think now, John, you're in the chat. You can check the group chat for me and say I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty certain I went for an Ipswich win, and I think I went for Ipswich to win this 3-0. So you watch. I've gone 1-0 Ipswich in the chat. I'll say 3-0, and that'll be the score, won't it? Guarantee everything I predict tonight will come true, and it won't be anything offset that's in the predictions.
I know. You regret it. Next up, I've got Bristol City against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, it looks like we've got them in the same order so far.
Yeah. Bristol City sacked Nigel Pearson, been linked with Frank Lampard. Again, why, oh, why, oh, why? All right, look, we've got blue tinted glasses when it comes to Nigel Pearson because we love him. Of course we do. But do you get rid of a manager that has got promotion out of third to second tier, got promotion out of second to first tier, has beaten relegation? When he was at Leicester, you know, we were always sort of there or thereabouts, at least in the playoffs, if not better, and kept us in the Premier League. So you don't support the manager, then you sack him. And you replace him with Frank Lampard, who's, to put it bluntly, done sweet fuck all, has he? I mean, as a managerial level. And, okay, he kept Everton up, but goal difference, more by luck than whatever. He did okay at Chelsea. Well, he's never going to get Chelsea relegated, is he, with the money that they've got? Even what's he called, when he went from Brighton, couldn't get them relegated as much as he tried. You've gone 4-1 apparently. Tell you what, John, if you want to put those up, do you want him to put those up before we get to it, Brad?
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, if he wants to put them up, and I'll give a second feeling on it, then I'll tell you how wrong I'm on my own gut feeling and why I'm bottom of the league. You'll soon understand through this show, folks. If John wants to do that, if he's able to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's up to you, John. If you can do that, that would be brilliant. So for me, but Sheffield Wednesday won at the weekend. They beat Rotherham, and it was a must-win game for them. The owner is coming out saying, like, well, I didn't say that the fans should pay in money to survive. You know, he's saying, I was asked how much would it be to keep us going, and he said if 20,000 fans each put 100 quid in, and he didn't say that he was actually asking for that. He's paid HMRC off. He's paid the wages. Maybe things are turning for Sheffield Wednesday. So Bristol City at the moment are managerless. Even if Frank comes in tomorrow, I don't think he can do an awful lot in that sort of time. Unfortunately, I'm going to have put this as a board draw, 0-0.
Yeah, I don't really care that he's turned it around at Sheffield Wednesday. I still think it's a disgrace that they sacked Darren Moore after what he achieved there. My opinions on don't change. Kind of think you've just. I was all for going for a Bristol City win, and then before they sacked Nigel Pearson, and it's not just because they sacked Nigel Pearson, but they're actually hiring somebody who I hold in the same esteem and expectations as that £9,000 cardigan man called Scott Parker. I mean, you say never going to get relegated with Chelsea. Had he had the second stint at Chelsea a few months earlier, he would have given it a damn good go. You know, we might have been safe had he come in a bit earlier, because he was shocking, awful. Playoff bottle lists. What was he, Leeds manager when he bottled the playoffs? So
Derby, I think.
Derby, sorry, you know, it was Leeds that knocked him out. He absolutely bottled the playoffs with Derby, which was kind of funny to see. But no, he's just useless. You don't want him in charge. You don't want him in charge, and I don't think the morale's great at Bristol City, which is again weird because they beat Coventry, didn't they? A week or so ago, a result ago.
That was before Pearson was sacked, though.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. So he wins a game and then he's sacked. It's strange how these clubs do things. But on the basis that I just don't think they'll do that well, I'm pretty sure I toyed with the idea of going for a draw, but I'm pretty sure I went for a Sheffield Wednesday win. Okay. I think I went for 2-0 to Sheffield. I could be wrong, no my luck, but that's where my head's at now.
That's okay. John can't do that because he's going to work in a minute, but thanks anyway, John. So, Bristol City 17th in the playoff. This is based on the last 6 games. They've won 2 of those. Sheffield Wednesday, 1 draw and 1 win, although both of those again been against relegation rivals, I should say, Huddersfield and Rotherham. I just think Bristol City. I just hope. I like Bristol City because of Nigel Pearson, but I think this will be a board draw. Now, next up on my list, I've got Huddersfield against Watford. It's not gone very well since the new guy came into Huddersfield, who was obviously the Sheffield Wednesday ex-manager. Scott's a little bit behind, but he's just come in with Brum to Ipswich 1. Now, looking at this, Huddersfield are somewhere in the playoff table, and I can't find it. Yeah, 20th. 20. They've won 1 in 5, and that was against Queen's Park Rangers. Well, not been awful. No, sorry, Queen's Park Rangers, but that shouldn't be a too difficult thing to do. Watford are in 13th in the form table. They've not lost in 4. They've drawn 1-1 drawn. Drew 2-2 with Millwall, 1-1 with Cardiff, beat Sheffield Wednesday and Swansea. I have a feeling that tonight's going to be a good... I've got a feeling I'm going to go... I can only see a Watford win here. I'm going to go 2-1 Watford.
Well, you've gone 2-1 Watford, and I'm about to prove to everybody why I am where I am in the league. Because I'm fairly certain I was toying with the idea Watford will win 1-0, no, it'll be a draw, Huddersfield at home. And I'm hoping to pull out a little Steve Linex special out here, because I'm pretty sure I looked at Watford's form and went, wouldn't it be typical for them to lose to Huddersfield? And I talked myself, I'm fairly certain, folks, apologies for not being organised tonight, but I'm fairly certain I went for exactly what Scott's just put in the chat, Huddersfield to win 1-0.
Well, what can I say? You and Scott, no idea what you're talking about. There we go. Okay, next up on my list, I've got Millwall against Southampton. I'm not sure if that's what you've got or not. Millwall, everybody, the club everybody loves to hate, really, aren't they? And they are down in 18th at the moment, only won 1 in 5. But in fairness, they've only lost 1 in their last 5. Against Southampton, who are yo-yoing like a yo-yo, if I'm honest with you. There's no other way of saying it. They were up, they were down, they were up. They haven't lost in 5, Southampton, but they have won, drawn, won. On the form side, we are looking at Southampton are in 4th. They haven't actually lost in 6. They beat Leeds, surprisingly, but they also beat Stoke. They could only draw with Rotherham, though, but they beat Hull. They drew with Preston, which you would have think they would have won, and they beat Birmingham last time out, which probably no great shake at the moment. I am going to go... That Millwall, I'm going to go 1-1.
Why have I got a horrible feeling that this is going to be a result where I start tallying up your points and I'm like, he got that wrong, and then I'll look at Millwall and go, oh, flipping hell, did he predict that right? Because that's how everybody else seems to do their points. It's always a result like that. Millwall are a bit of a weird side. You know what? If I had a mortgage, I'd put it on Millwall will finish 8th this season, because I said that about them, haven't I? The last 3 or 4 seasons they finished 8th, and they seem to get weird results and then they lose random games. I think this one might be not a random game as such, but I think this might be a case of Southampton get themselves another 3 points. I think people are like, why you say you think, Brad? Because I clearly don't when I predict the Championship. But I'm fairly certain I give Southampton a 2-0 win here, because I just think it's one of them away from home. I think Saints are a lot more comfortable away from home than they are at St Mary's. This is where Chris tells me they only lost at home to Leicester this season, and that's probably not my luck.
I don't have that information, in fairness. I don't think I have that information as well. If we actually go on to away matches, I can tell you in the last 6 games away, Southampton are 8th. They have only lost 2 in 6. But at home, well, I don't know, because they're not at home. Had it been at home, I would have... No, let's have a look at home, because I think they might have done better at home. But at home, they are, well, 9th. Okay. So they've lost 2 in the last 6 away, lost 2 in the last 6 at home. Had this been at Southampton, I would have definitely have gone for a Southampton win. But they're just not consistent. I say it's win, draw, and I just think it's time for a draw. A golf fest here from Scott. He's gone 3-2. So let's hope that'll be nice. I tell you what, just a sidetrack. Does anybody watch ITV4 at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, because they show the highlights of the football? Is that the shittest show going, or what?
Yeah, it is, and it's not much better on the YouTube channel, because you get certain games, you think the extended highlights, which are good. I mean, it's nice that we get extended highlights to view, but they must steal it off ITV4, I'm guessing, because sometimes you get a game with no bloody commentary, and I hate that. I think it's so dull. I can't focus on a highlight when there's no commentary. I mean, look at this season, there hasn't been many highlights I haven't had to miss, because Leicester have only lost 1 game. I don't usually like watching us on highlights when we lose, but I've had some games where I've just been watching, like, I think I watched the Plymouth Norwich game, and I don't know, it just didn't have any sound. It's just so crap. Do you remember the Championship show they used to do on ITV when Claridge and Manish Pasim used to host it? That was brilliant. I loved that. Well, when everybody was sponsored by Coca-Cola, it was a Coca-Cola Championship. They were the good old days, Chris.
I mean, they're not even in the studio. stick them in a shed or something, please. They're at the side of a pitch, and even the main games, and as much as that match of the day is not exactly brilliant, but at least their main games, the earlier you show them, the longer you get. But even when you're the first game, you get 30 seconds, a minute at the most. It's the most boring show going. I absolutely hate it. And
I'll tell you what, Chris, we could do better, couldn't we?
We could. Indeed. Right. I noticed last week that you were nowhere to be seen, because I did say that if Plymouth had won last week, that you'd have to eat a Gangster's pasty live on the show. And thankfully for you, they didn't, so it didn't matter. That would have been up there with Gary Lineker appearing in his his boxer shorts. Plymouth Middlesbrough. Wow. This is the hard one, because Middlesbrough have lost 2. Plymouth have lost 3 in their last 6. But they did win. They beat Sheffield Wednesday last time out 3-0. Hang on. I'm just looking at home. Let me have a look at all matches. Sorry, I hadn't updated. Middlesbrough. This makes more sense. Middlesbrough 3rd, although they did lose to Stoke last time out, which cost me some points. Plymouth are down in 18th.
It cost everybody points, actually, Chris. Just so you know, nobody scored any points on the Middlesbrough Stoke game.
I know. I'm not surprised. Plymouth only won 1 in the last 6. And that was against Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to go 3-1 to Middlesbrough. So 1 to Plymouth, 3 to Middlesbrough for me.
Well, you'll be happy to know again, I'm fairly certain I am different on this one, because I looked at Middlesbrough's run of last 2 results, a bit of a shocker. And obviously, yes, okay, Plymouth beat Sheffield Wednesday, but unless your name's Rotherham United, everybody's beaten Sheffield Wednesday, and quite comfortably. I mean, I actually did watch the highlights of that game, and the defensive errors that Sheffield Wednesday made were absolutely horrendous, Chris. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it or if anyone else has, but they were horrific 2 defensive mistakes. I mean, under 5s would have defended better. But I think this is a game where Middlesbrough have to respond a little bit, because just as they turned a corner, they've gone on a bit of a blip in these last 2 games. I'm pretty sure I went for a Desmond on this one. Ooh. I think I went 2-2.
33 minutes into the show, and we get a Desmond.
Usually you with your fence panel advertising sitting on a fence, but no, I've beat you to it this time.
Yeah. I'm just going to try something here. Bloody hell, it worked. You can now create a marker, so that when you say something that I want to save and come back to, I can now press a marker and it saves it. I don't have to write the time down.
Technology, it's because I have to keep on muting myself, and sometimes it don't want to work. Technology these days, it's brilliant, isn't it? I say that after struggling to unmute myself.
I know, that was good timing. Scott, you only wish, Brad, that Scott was in the same prediction league properly, not just in the show tonight, because he's gone 1-0 to Plymouth, and I think he would actually kick you off the bottom. Sorry, Scott, but there we go. Right, next up, we have got Preston against Coventry, I do believe. Is that the next one that you've got?
It certainly is, mate. It seems like we've both got the same list, so It's worked out well for us this week.
Preston are being all Preston-y, aren't they? They started off well, and here we go, quarter of the season, they're down to 9th. I mean, they're not out of the race. They've got 22 points. They're only 1 point off, Cardiff are in 6th with 23. So it's not like they've dropped down desperately, but they've not won in 5, Preston, which kind of sums them up. Coventry, meanwhile, wow. I mean, they are down in 20th. 1-3 all season out of 14 games. They are the draw specialists. They've drawn 6. But they did win last time out, but they'd lost 3 in a row prior to that. I mean, in the form table, Coventry of 16th and Preston aren't. I can't find Preston at the moment. They'll be around there somewhere. Preston are 23rd. My God, 23rd in the form table. What the hell? I'm going to go 1-0 to Preston on this. No, I'm not. I'm going to go 2-0 to Preston on this one. I think Coventry's season is absolutely abysmal, and they have got one hell of a hangover from losing that playoff final last year.
Yeah, they have, unfortunately, and they lost their main threat, didn't they? Like Gorky's, I think they lost, and someone else they lost before the transfer window went, and they've not really recovered. And I do feel a bit sorry for Mark Robbins because he was. I was having a discussion with my mate about the championship because we were playing. We do a football manager thing. It's so difficult the championship to get out of. Is it like that in real life? He was having a laugh because obviously we're doing. I said,
yeah.
It is though, because you get one good season, and you have to. You almost feel like in the championship when you get a season like Coventry had last season, you've got to make or break it, because if you don't, those 3 or 4 players, whether they're loanies or they're sought after signees, that they're all ready to sign for you if you go up, and if you don't, you're dreading. You think, wow, I ain't going to get him back on loan. The parent club suddenly wants to start playing him in their team, giving a shout. He wants to leave because he wants, Premiership sides are looking at him, or clubs in like Italy are looking at him. So it can all go pear-shaped. You see it a lot in this division. You see teams have maybe 1, maybe 2 good seasons if they're financially stable a bit more, but after that they have a drop like what Coventry have in here, and I don't think I gave Coventry a result here, but I can't remember if I went Preston to win. So to put you on edge, Chris, I'm going to say that I went for a Coventry special and went 1-1, but I can't be certain on this one.
Okay, mate, I'll let you off. I mean, it makes what Leicester did when we got knocked out by Watford in the semi-finals, and the way that we were knocked out, the way we came back the following season is the way, all right, we kept hold of a lot of players, granted, but that is how you should react, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you then look at, well, we all say, look what happened to both. Everybody tries to wind me up every so often and tag me in a video when it comes around saying, oh, do you remember this? I was like, yes. Do you remember what happened afterwards? Oh yeah, you won the Premier League. I was like, well, not just that, but the next season, if you go back to the exact season afterwards, we won the division comfortably, and Watford were nearly relegated. So give me that playoff heartache every day of the week if you respond the way we do, because that shows the comparison. Leicester bounced back. Watford lost the final, suffered a hangover, and were fortunate not to go down to League One in the end. So it just shows you, cooler heads prevail in that situation. So it is a very mental challenge, isn't it? Playing 40 plus games a season takes it out of you.
Bit of a relegation derby here. Rotherham hosting QPR. My God, this is a must-win for both teams, if I'm honest with you. I mean, Rotherham are in 22nd. QPR are in 23rd. Both of them within the relegation zone. Thing is that they both need a win, because one place above them in 21st, which is obviously just above the relegation zone, is Huddersfield, but they're on 14 points. So that's 5 points clear of. So even if Rotherham win, they're still going to be. And then Huddersfield were to win. I can't remember what I got Huddersfield down. Oh, I got them down to lose. But if Huddersfield were to win, they've still got that gap. It's there's the old saying, isn't there? Mind the gap. Rotherham managed to win 1 in 5. I mean, they're losing to Sheffield Wednesday. Rotherham I mean, the Yorkshire rivals, and you lose to them, and the shittest team in the division at the moment. But on current form, I've got to say, QPR are actually 24th because they haven't won in 6. But Rotherham have only won 1, but they managed to win 2. I had actually gone for a draw here, a 1-1 draw, but I'm actually going to go 2-1 to Rotherham. I don't think QPR have got a new manager yet, have they?
No, I don't believe so. And this is where I don't like. I don't like when you let your personal feelings get involved in football, because I do feel sorry for Gary Ainsworth. I know we all had maybe a little bit of snide the fact that we played them and then he got sacked. I know he wasn't seemingly popular maybe with the fans as well as the board, but it's a death sentence, isn't it? It's a bit horrible to turn around to someone and say, hey, you know that team that's absolutely running away with the division? Yeah, if you lose to them, you're sacked. That was probably our toughest team to beat, and it shouldn't have been on paper, but football's not won on paper. I think Brian Clough said that once, and he said, unfortunately, football's played on the pitch.
Yeah.
So,
I think what he said. I read this week, actually. He said, we should have beaten them. We were the better team on paper. Unfortunately, we played them on grass.
Yes, yeah. So there you go. And that was probably their best performance that they lost. I think on another day they would have beaten us. You could even throw in the fact that they went down to 10 men. That didn't help us, and that made it easier for Leicester to break you down. And with that in mind, I think them players will feel they've got a point to prove. And I don't know who the assistant is, but I'm assuming he's in charge for this game. I can't imagine he's walked out the door. And I've got a feeling he'll set them up the same way he did against Rotherham, because he'll go, well, if we can nearly nick a point or more off Leicester and play that way, if we play that way against Rotherham, who are down and out, we could get a win here. And I'm pretty sure I've edged QPR to win this 1-0.
Thank God. I was worried which way you were going there. I do know where you're coming from, and I mean Gary Ainsworth. It's one of those, and I said to the QPR fan when we had him on that it's that ex-player coming back as a manager. And he'd been at Milton Keynes for 10, 11 seasons, so he'd literally probably got a job for life there, bless him. But the lure of going back to his, the club that he saw as his club, and it was always going to be bad. I know Rotherham lost to Sheffield United, but okay, they beat Coventry. They drew with Southampton. They drew with Bristol. They drew with Preston. Sorry, only just lost to Bristol. Yeah, I just think they might just edge it. But coming up next on the list, it's we'll never go to Stoke on a Saturday afternoon at 3:00. Even Stoke against Cardiff. Look, the Stoke that played us were absolutely shite. Let's be honest with you. But Cardiff, well, Stoke are sat at the moment in 11th, won 3 out of the last 5. Whereas Cardiff are on the up. But they've only lost 2 of 5, but they've only won 2 of 5 as well. But they are actually just inside the playoff on goal difference. That's all. They're in 6th with 23 points. Hull are 7th with 23, but they're on a +7 compared to +4. If we look at the form, Stoke they're actually in 8th on the form. Where Cardiff, where are Cardiff? 9th. Okay, that was where I couldn't find them. I'm going to go for my first Desmond here. I'm going to go for a 2-2.
I didn't mean to push this one either, There we go. Third time's a charm. I pressed the right button. Well, I was pressing the same button. It wanted to put up Scott's comment. It wanted to keep me muted. It wouldn't unmute me. But I was just about to say 45 minutes. Get the marker out. Chris went for a Desmond. I was toying with the idea of joining you on a Desmond, and I may still have. This is a surprise show because what I'll do, Chris, is I'll send you my fixtures over so you know how badly we've compared or not. But don't you worry. If my instincts are right, I went more off Stokes' form, and I think I backed them for a 2-1 win. But you'll have to sweat it out and see how close we are in our predictions when I send you them over after the show.
You can't change your mind even if these are wrong.
Oh dear, no, I'd still get no points anyway.
Scott's gone 3-0 to Cardiff. I was tempted with the Cardiff win. I'm not going to lie to you, but they are sort of they're up each other's. They're like FaZe and Castagna were. They're up each other's arse. They're that close in the form table. Up next, Swansea, the other Welsh club, up against Sunderland. Now Swansea are in 6th. They've actually won 4 of the last 6. They obviously lost to us 3-1. They followed that up with a 1-0 loss to Watford. They beat Blackburn 1-0. They beat Plymouth 3-1. Norwich and Millwall, they've all won. So they're on a bit of a good run in form at the moment. Sunderland, now I predicted Sunderland to go up in 2nd. And again, they were one of the form teams not so long ago. But they beat Norwich last time out. They lost to us, obviously, 1-0. Lost to Stoke 2-1. Of course, they had that awful result against Middlesbrough. But they did beat Watford, Sheffield Wednesday. We don't even count those wins when the team beat Sheffield Wednesday, do we? 1-1. I think it's going to be a draw, this one.
No, this one I can't remember. How I did. See, this is what I mean. Swansea seem to be on good form, and then they play Leicester and they get spanked. And then they get on another good run, and they play Watford at home and they get spanked. So they're at home against a Sunderland team that do very well for a bit, and I don't want to say indifferent, but they're probably just like any regular side compared to like Leicester, I guess. They're any regular team in the Championship right now. A few good results, a few bad here and there. And I don't know why, but I feel like I went 2-1 Sunderland. And I regret saying that looking at Scott's prediction. But I'm fairly certain I've gone 2-1 Sunderland. I'm sure I've gone 2-1 Sunderland. This is where I'll send you through a screenshot of my predictions, and I've gone something silly like 4-1 to Swansea.
Scott has said I have Sunderland to win playoffs. Yeah, but again, so many teams, Brad, I don't know if you'll agree with me here. There's probably so many teams, it's the inconsistency.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're going through just a couple of results, a handful of results for each team, and it just shows you, like, who had Plymouth down to go and spank Norwich, but then lose a home game to whoever it is they've lost this season. I'm sure they've lost probably to someone they shouldn't have. We talk about draws and unexpected results. You had Millwall drawing with Preston. All right, Preston have continued on the decline, but when they drew with Rotherham, I think I was the only one that backed Rotherham on a draw on that one because I was feeling ill and it worked out for me. Maybe I should get ill more often. I don't know, but it's hard to be consistent in this division because I think, and you've got the league table yourself because you've seen it more, but I think after Leeds, I think anyone from 4th down to about 9th, maybe even lower. There's only they could swap places with the right results, couldn't they? And it just shows you how difficult this league is, I know we keep saying it. I don't want to sound big-headed, but right now, if you're looking at it from a neutral's point of view, Leicester are the exception to this division being close in terms of, you could win 3 games, go up to 3rd, lose 2 games, and you're down at 15th. such a difficult division
From
to predict.
3rd to 13th, there is 7 points difference.
Yeah, there you are. We get a Saturday, Saturday, Tuesday, and all of a sudden you're a point off the playoffs again. So,
in fact, it's 3rd down to 15th.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyone in 15th, you win a couple, the teams above you lose a couple. You, like I said, you're suddenly only a win away from the playoffs again. It's just
Bristol City, only 5 points off the playoffs, and they've sacked the manager.
It's a cuckoo league, mate. It's a cuckoo league. We've already said that about 3 or 4 managers this season. How have they got the sack? It seems to be if you're down at the bottom and you win a game, you might as well say bye to the fans because apparently they're going to sack you. Nigel Pearson wins game, gets sacked. Birmingham manager wins game, gets sacked. Sheffield Wednesday manager turns up to the championship, gets sacked. So unless you're Enzo Maresca and who's the Ipswich manager? Whoever he is, unless you're him, don't win a game because you'll get sacked.
No. Scott says there, which I find quite funny, I'll wait for Brad's predictions from now on. I don't blame you, mate. Look at last season at the points to this, and it's a lot closer than last season at this point. It is. I think once you get past the two of us, as in us and Ipswich, everybody's saying Ipswich will fall off. And I don't know whether you said it, Brad, or somebody else, but that's what they're saying about Leicester when we won the Premier League. Oh, they'll drop off. Oh, they'll drop off. So let's not write Ipswich off totally, in fairness. But the last game of the Saturday, we are looking at West Bromwich Albion, who won on Monday night. They are hosting Hull City. West Brom are in 5th. That took them into the playoffs. Every week when I do the chart, the top 2 are the same when I do the table for the game in a preview. And then the next ones, I'm just swapping them all around. It's like, same teams, but just swap them all around. But West Brom have jumped up into 5th on 23, but Hull are in 7th on 23. So, I mean, that's how absolutely ridiculous it is. Swansea are in 6th place in the form table. They've only lost 2 in the last 6. One of those obviously was to Leicester. No, I'm talking about Swansea again. Sorry, West Brom are 5th. Sorry, I dropped down a line. They've won 4 of the last 6. They lost to somebody, and it's not coming up. They lost to Birmingham City. They drew with Plymouth 0-0. That's what the good Gingsters does for you. Hull, though, are in 12th. They've won the last 2. They beat Preston and they beat Birmingham, but they have lost to Southampton and Ipswich in that time, and then a couple of draws as well. It's going to be tight. I am going to go just edging this West Brom 2-1.
Oh, see, I've got a game that's after this one where I'm pretty certain I know which way I predicted it. And now I'm like, was it this one or this one? And I'm confusing myself as well as you saying all this. Because you're like, well, what's your bloody prediction, Brad? And this is one where I've drawn a blank again because this is a difficult game. Both teams, very similar in how they seem to go when they're on a roll and they're on a bit of form. They're undefeated, not losing games, yes, drawing a few, but still keeping that momentum going and picking up results when they need to. And it's not like Hull have lost to anybody that you wouldn't maybe say, okay, they're probably going to lose to them with like Southampton and Ipswich in the respects of them. So I feel like I went originally for like a draw between these two, but I'm fairly certain that's what I said for the next game to give you a hint for what not to go for that one. So I would say, unless I probably have gone for that, knowing what I know now, I probably would go for a West Brom 2-1 win as well.
Thank God you can't remember then.
Yeah, I know. So no, Mark, I've gone 4-0 Hull. I don't know.
Okay, on to Sunday's game. Live on Sky. Norwich hosting Blackburn. My God. Norwich, there's like a bride's knickers on the wedding night. They're falling down that quick. They're down to 17th. Now, these were one of the teams when we beat them that ever was, they're going to be up there again, as always. Norwich always are. blah, blah. They have, well, they've played the 14, obviously. They've not won in 5. And they've only won 5 all season. 25 scored, 27 conceded, 17 points. Again, yeah, only 6 points off the playoff. But my God, are they in free fall or what? And they're playing a Blackburn Rovers side who are 12th in the table. They've won 3 of their last 5. They did lose last time out, though. And if we have a look at the form table, Blackburn are in 11th. They lost to Swansea last time out, but they've beaten Queen's Park Rangers. They put 4 past them, so fair play to them. They beat Cardiff and they beat Millwall, but they did lose to Coventry and obviously to us 6 games ago. So they're in 11th in the form table. Norwich 20th in the form table. After beating Birmingham 2-0, they lost to Swansea. They drew with Coventry 1-1. Lost to Leeds, lost to Middlesbrough, lost to Sunderland, and I think they're going to lose again. And I'm going to go 1-0 to Blackburn.
If it, I pressed the mic button too many times and it went mic on, mic off. It was like Morgan Freeman in Bruce Almighty. Clap down. Clap on the clapper. Didn't work. Yeah, I'm not going to beat it around the bush because I'm fairly certain if it wasn't this one, it's the other one I gave a Desmond to because of what you said. They're both actually a little bit inconsistent. I mean, Blackburn really surprised me playing against us. They didn't put a striker on, even though they'd got a signing. They'd spent a lot of money on a striker. They've been a bit weird with who they've been losing to. And Norwich are just, well, dog awful. They really are struggling at the moment. I mean, they were 2-0 up against Leeds. And, if you live in Norwich and you know anybody that lives in Norwich, maybe phone the RSPCA if they've got a dog because they can't hold on to it on a lead. I got there with that joke in the end. Oh dear. But yeah, I'm fairly certain I put this down as my Desmond because of that one. So yeah, you'll be happy to know if Blackburn, if I've gone for that one and I haven't gone for the same as you because I've gone for a draw.
Okay. Now there's an extra game midweek. You said.
Yes, it's I didn't realise until the lovely people like Jeff. Hi Jeff, I've just saw his comment down there. Thanks for letting me know I also got his points right to you as well, Chris, because he did get 13 this week. Get on for me.
I'll bring the table up again in a second, Jeff.
Yeah, but everybody has predicted the postponed match, rearranged match of Ipswich versus Rotherham. I'm not sure if it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday night. But yes, everybody's giving me the predictions for that. So I assume this is happening midweek.
Right. Well done, everybody. I didn't realise.
No, I didn't. Thanks for doing my jobs for me, guys. The check's in the post.
No, I it's obviously because it's a rearranged game and they don't always sort of appear when you look at the fixtures because it's an extra game gone in. Oh, come on. I mean, I want to see Ipswich fail. Of course I do, because it gives us that gap. All the best, Scott. Thanks very much for coming in and doing what you do. I really, really do appreciate it. So all the best to you and your family. Hope all are well. I so want Ipswich to lose, but I just can't see. I mean, if they were to lose against Rotherham, that would be the shock of the season so far in the Championship. It really would be. 19th in the form table, Rotherham. Ipswich, second in the form table. Ipswich not lost in 5. They lost in 6. They've won 5 of those, but they drew with Huddersfield. Rotherham have gone the other way. They've only won 1, which was Coventry, but they have drawn 2. I mean, Rotherham, they must be dreading this. They really must. Now, if I was brave, and if I was called Jeff or if I was called Doug, I would probably go, you know what? I'm going to go to Rotherham, sneak this 3-2 or something silly like that. But I'm not that brave. So I can't. So I am going to go.
And you're not as stupid as me.
No, I'm going to, because I'm still up there, still near to the European places. I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go 3-0, 3-0 to Ipswich.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you positive?
No.
Okay. Because
I'm going to go 3-1. I thought one might sneak a goal. I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay, because I'm 99% certain I went at least 0 to Rotherham, and I'm pretty sure I went 3+ to Ipswich. I have a feeling I went 3-0. So.
Thank you for the heads up.
You're welcome, mate. Yeah. Oh dear.
That's 3-0 now. I'm fucking finding you.
Please don't dock me any points. I need all I can get.
I'm going to do a taking on you. I have a certain set of skills. Okay. Right. So let's go all the way back to tomorrow night, shall we? And,
well, we can go. I don't know how we go back to tomorrow night, but I'm happy to take the journey.
It's interesting, that one, isn't it? Leicester Leeds. Now, we just did the preview earlier, and we had Carl on. You remember Carl from Levy and Horn podcast. Lovely to speak to him again. I did say it was like, when you go to a new school and you suddenly look across the playground, you're all on your own and you recognise somebody from your old school. And you think, yes, it was like seeing him again. But he was having your trouble. He couldn't hear half of what he was saying because he's got a new mic. I actually went for, but I'm going to change my mind because I went 1-0 to Leicester because Craig had gone 2-1. Now, it's not my final answer because you may ask me if I'm sure or not, but 2-1 was what I was originally going to go for. I mean, look, Leeds, there's going to be the toughest game we've played this season? Possibly, but how many times have we said that? Preston was supposed to be the toughest game of the season because, they were third where Leeds are now, and we steamrolled them. Every wall that is put up in front of us, we're just climbing over it. In fact, we're not even climbing over it, we're bulldozering it down. Our hardest game so far for me have been 2. Sunderland, which was kind of expected, and QPR. That was such a tough game. Leeds, the interesting thing is they're going to go for it, I think. They're on a great run, Leeds. They've lost 1 in 5. In fact, they may not even have only lost 1 in 6. They're up in 7th. Then they've lost 2 in 6, Southampton and Stoke. So, they do struggle against teams, that are around them. They've got to get the ball off us, which we know is going to be hard. Thank God Boris isn't in the group anymore because Craig was telling me that apparently Enzo said it's going to be a very slow game and, we're going to be holding on to the ball a lot. So Boris would have probably had shitted himself if that had been the case. But I can't see. Yes, it's going to be a difficult game. Yes, I believe it's going to be tight. But I just can't go against Leicester at the moment. And it's another victory, another 3 points. And I am going to go, provisionally, I am going to go 2-1 to Leicester.
Are you sure? Are you positive?
No, are you joking now? Or are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm joking. I've not gone 2-1.
You have another score prediction as a backup.
Okay, so I'm gonna lock in you 2-1 because I promise you I've not gone the same. I promise you. Okay, so we're locking in 2-1. Right, we've heard it there. Chris has gone 2-1. I was also on a Leeds podcast, as you know, Chris.
And thank you very much for standing in for me on that.
Absolutely not a problem, mate. You've done more than enough for me over the last week and a half of everything going on here. So the least I could do is help you out when I was available. So I actually toyed with the idea because I got asked this earlier, predictions, and on his podcast I said my head says it'll be our first draw and it'll be 2-2, but my heart said we'd win it 3-2. And then I went on to do the predictions list for us, and I always do mine last. Not that it helps, because it's not like I can copy Doug's homework because I won't catch up. Not that it helps. But I always do mine last because it allows me to see who's maybe not done theirs and who I'm waiting on and anyway, so I did mine, and I happened to copy a certain Nate's, and I just copied and pasted because it was the last one that was through in the group chat, and I edit mine that way. And he'd gone 3-2, and I went, oh, I can't keep it at 3-2. So I've gone for a bit of a goal fest in mine, and I have gone for Leicester City 4, Leeds United 2.
Oh, yes, that is a goal fest. Brave.
Stupid, brave, crazy, with few smarter words.
I was being kind. I went with brave for you, but
and I'll say what everybody was really thinking.
Okay, but yeah, look, Jeff says there against Leeds it might be easier than we think. That's what kind of has come into my mind. Both teams will be up for it. Enzo will ensure that we are better mentally prepared than last week. I just think I love Enzo. I mean, look, he's saying all the right things at all the right times. It's nice to have a manager that knows what he's doing, that can look, has got a plan B, or even not necessarily a plan B. His plan B is almost like a +1, isn't it? Because it's the same almost, just different players. But it's great. And I just don't know who's going to stop us if it's not Leeds. Could be the draw that we've been waiting for, like you say, Brad. But no, I'm going to go for a 3-1, 2-1. 2-1 I went for in the end. And there you go, Jeff. Just to make Brad happy.
You know what? I'm going to make sure you look at every prediction first, and I'm just going to say, are you sure? To everyone, yeah, I'm sure about. We're going to, are you sure?
But what a good week Jeff had. Got more points than Doug.
I know, right? I mean, it wasn't a high-scoring one, was it? Really, for for anybody, really. In fact, I think Jeff got 2 correct results. I think Doug and I believe John got the only other people to actually get correct results. So it was a lovely maths. Thank you for keeping it so easy for me, guys, by only getting the outcome right and not the score lines right, because it was quite easy for me to do maths this week.
The only like you say, Anthony got a correct result.
It was Anthony and not John.
Yeah, Doug got 1. John and Jeff got 2, and Steve S got 1. That was it. Nobody else got a correct result. Jeff 13 points, 11 for John, which I think lifted him over me. I only got 6 points. Craig got 8. He was getting closer, isn't he? We'll leave it at that. We won't go through the weekly points. But look, there we go.
It's like one of them, isn't it? Good. I've got good news for you, Brad, and bad news for you. Good news is you're in the top 12. Bad news is there's only 12 teams.
Exactly. Brad is enjoying playing in the Scottish Premier League at the moment.
I'll stay with Scottish Premier League because I wouldn't be good enough for the WSL. They're 12 teams as well.
I didn't think about the WSL, but I thought I didn't want to insult them. Anyway, thank you very much. Are you with us tomorrow night for the watch along?
Yes, I should be along for the watch along. I might be able to nip on for a little bit before the pre-match, but I will be there for half time, and of course I'm always there for the post-match.
Brilliant. Stay on the line. We're going to have a quick chat with you.
Your call is important to us.
Press 1 for mental problems. Press 2 for
one.
Brad, mate, thanks so very much for tonight, and I'll speak to you in a second.
No worries, mate. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right, so let's get rid of that. Let's do that, and let me go huge. So, God, I look red. Hang on. I do look a bit... there we go. Although if I do that, it looks like I've got a nice suntan. So we'll leave that on. Brad is crazy. Definitely, Jeff, definitely. So 7:15 tomorrow night, we are going to be doing the watch-along. It is crazy because the last watch-along, and I know a lot of people go on afterwards and they just want to go along and see my reactions to the goals and see how we react to different things. We are on 4.4 thousand views, 4,400 views. I think it's probably something like 4,401. We've only just tipped over, but my mind doesn't compute that. We were at like just over 1,000 for the actual live watch along. We're now on 4.4. So thank you all very, very much indeed. As with all shows, please do smash the likes on the video. It really helps. It gets this channel coming up on channels that don't subscribe to us, and they see it, and then hopefully they'll watch the shows, which helps. Subscribe if you're new. I think everybody that's been in is probably not new, but if you're watching it on catch up, thank you so very much for sharing your eyes with me. And if you've been listening to us on podcast, thank you very much for sharing your ears. Tomorrow night, 7:15, it's the big one, toughest game of the season. We'll find out. We will find out. Fingers crossed it won't be, though. I will see you there. Be there or be square, as they say. This has been LTID TV. I've been Chris. This is Arnie. See you tomorrow night. Good night now.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.